cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny. I am your host. I am here, of course, with my co-host, Sky Scout. How are you doing today, bud?
Very good, very good. Sky Scout is pretty solid. You could go down that line a little ways too. I'm not going to take away any card options for you because I did a little bit of scanning. I didn't consider Sky Scout. That's a good pick.
I was thinking about doing Harpy's brother, but
that's exactly the card I was thinking of. It doesn't have quite the same ring, right?
It doesn't have the same ring in this context, but I almost did it.
I was thinking Harpy's brother, so I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. You doing all right?
This is gonna be I know that this bit could go for a long time. There's a lot of cards.
Oh, we're just getting started, trust me.
Speaking of just getting started, we've got some sponsors.
Well, I asked how you were doing and you just never responded. So I was trying to give you a window to say, I'm having a good day, but sponsors. So,
listen, I can. I am good. This weekend, I'm moving my grandparents, so we're hauling down with the family to do a road trip all the way down to southern Alberta, and then haul some stuff, and then
Is it pronounced Calgary or Calgary or Calgary? I've heard it.
Calgary.
Calgary?
Anybody who says Calgary is insane.
I've never heard it pronounced Calgary until talking to you.
Then everybody but me is insane.
Just never talked to that many Canadians, I guess. That's on me.
Why don't you read off the sponsorships, and I'm going to go look up the entomology of Calgary.
This is gonna be my second entomology discussion today, and it's exhausting. All right, so of course a huge thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors. So thank you, of course, to Steelfox Games as well as ETB Games, and of course we want to thank all of our affiliate link sponsors. So of course thank you to TCG Player as well as Dragon Shield. Click those before you shop, and we get a little bit of a help back for us. And of course, if you check out Gem Accessories, we have a discount code for 10% off your purchase. And of course, be sure to check out Grimoire Accessories as well as my camera froze. What's going on, camera?
Oh,
what's going on?
Good question.
What you doing?
What's happening?
Oh, I went to pick it up to go fix it, and it just... Okay, we're getting there. Hold on. We're getting there. Okay. So, sorry about that. That's on me. All right, so of course, a huge thank you to Gem Accessories. Use their affiliate link for 10% off your order there. Be sure to check out Grimoire Accessories. We have an affiliate link with a discount code for 5% off, Top Cut 5 at checkout. And of course, be sure to check out Tier 0 Games. They do have pre-sales going up. Some pre-sales just went up. Some pre-sales are about to go up. I think Age of Overlord pre-sales are about to go up. They might even go up the day this episode comes out. So that's definitely worth checking out. Be sure to be on the lookout. I have tweet notifications for Tier 0 Games on because they tweet out whenever they have something come up. So, and usually when they do that tweet, I retweet it. So if you have your notifications on for the podcast, you should know when those pre-sales are coming out, because they have the best pre-sale prices out there probably. Anyway, and of course, thank you to all our wonderful patrons for their continued support. So let's start out, actually. Let's kind of jump back to Grimoire Accessories because we do have actual product from them in now, so we can kind of give a bit of a review on that.
Absolutely.
After we found out if it's Calgary or Calgary.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll jump in. So I have bad news for you, and that it appears to be a debate. I have pulled up a Canada News article. So I will say probably the correct answer to this question is actually Calgary. So there's three ways that people say it. It's Calgary, Calgary, or Calgary, which is what I always call it as Calgary. But
I'll be honest, the first and second one sounded the same to me.
So it's Calgary or Calgary.
Oh, Calgary. That's what I always. That's how Calgary is how I always said it.
Yeah. So apparently, the correct answer, according to like half of the people in Calgary, is Calgary. But apparently, like the other half or the other two, apparently Calgary, like me, is if you are farther away. So if you are like anywhere else in Canada, you'd call it Calgary, but Calgarians call it Calgary or Calgary. So probably if you want with the local source, Calgary is the correct pronunciation. So
Calgary, huh?
I'll take a half point on the Skyhawk disinformation counter, because
I'll also take a half point. We'll share the half point there.
Sounds good.
There's actually 3 ways to pronounce it, so we each get a third of a point. Actually,
anyway, Matt.
So, yeah, let's talk about the Grimoire TCG, Matt. I know we're already like deep into this intro and the podcast hasn't started yet, but I'll be honest, the podcast content itself is kind of a little slacking today.
This can be part of the content. I think it's good to talk
about
the product. So Grimoire was nice enough to send us a mat. I ended up being the recipient. I think we decided that Sunny gets a lot of the Dragon Shield stuff, so this one would go to me. I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
So
speaking of, be sure to check out our Twitter for a Dragon Shield giveaway.
Ooh, spicy. So they were nice enough to send us a mat to Canada, and the owner of Grimoire also was nice enough to cover the import fees as a Canadian. They reached out of their own accord to reimburse us for those, so that was very cool. And
they have fixed that on their website, so there shouldn't be any more import fees if you're Canadian looking to order from their site. Also,
no more nonsense for Canadian U.S. shipping. Yay!
Yeah, there was like an option on the website that needed to be turned on, but this was their first shipment to Canada, I think. So it was like just something that had to be fixed on their end, and it should be fixed now.
I'm happy to be the first. We're testing things out. So they've got lots of cool stuff on their website. Right now, it's mats, deck boxes, and dice. But what I got is they offered us a choice of color between a few different options, and I decided on moss. I'm a big green enjoyer. Sunny's also wearing a green shirt right now, so we're clearly
also a big green enjoyer.
So this is the first design of their moss playmat. It is really beautiful. It's like, especially like, look, I love the mushrooms in the corner. I love the detail on the branches. The sword and the skull is really nice. You got the leaves coming through, vines coming across the bottom. You got the book there. And then I'll pull out the whole thing unfolded. Got that super cool moon design across the middle. And then
it's such a nice design.
Repeats the design. It's really, really beautiful. I remember you were talking about, the owner was saying that the goal behind their designs was to have something for Yu-Gi-Oh! But not like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Design, like just a general design.
Right.
I'll get close here. Materials wise, it's very soft. It's super, super nice. It's not super pronounced, so it's not like it's like super cushy, like over the top. It's very, very flat, but it's still got a really nice feel to it. I'll maybe film like a short video and post it to the Discord later. It's very good to move cards around, single sleeve, double sleeve. Anything like that. It's very good to fold as like a 2-player thing. Honestly, for like $55, like I would give this like a solid 9 out of 10. This is a really nice playmat. I will definitely be using it the next time I'm at locals, because I have been for the longest time a rubber mat guy, just because that's what I had. And I've only just recently picked up a cloth, so thank you very much to Grimoire for sending this to us. It is like really beautiful. I love the colors. It is, it's awesome. So thank you, Grimoire.
So of course, always happy to have that. I am particularly enthused. I think that legitimately, talking with Grimoire, I think they are a well-run company, and I think that your customer service here will be very excellent. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really proud to call them a sponsor of the podcast. And I'm pretty excited to see what they do in this space moving forward, because the product is insane.
That's cool stuff.
And I think the community response, I'm not going to say, I think the community response has been warm and very good. I think they sold out on their first playmats in like 72 hours or less on their first ever playmat drop, which kind of came out the blue. So big stuff. Super duper happy to be working with them and super excited to see where their company goes. So
yeah, and if you want cool pictures of the deck box in action, the design on that is really sick. It's on the website, but Crook on Twitter, if you scroll down some of their media posts, actually has a couple of like posts on like a playmat in the field. Nice. They're beautiful pictures if you want to go see. But yeah, super glad to have them on board.
All right, so we do actually have some actual content to discuss today. So I think the first thing that we should talk about is some stuff about the Rarity Collection. What do you think?
I am absolutely on board. Are you taking this one away?
I can, yeah. So we do.
I couldn't tell if you were guiding me.
Well, you chuckled after I said something, and it just made me laugh. And I still am getting over some allergies, so when you made me laugh, it made me cough.
I'll do my best to not be funny for the remainder of the episode.
That's right. We don't need comedy here. We're a news podcast. We don't do comedy.
We stone face read the news.
True. I want this to be like Walter Cronkite in the 1960s. Like, yes, and today the Rarity Collection event was announced today at participating OTS stores. Yeah, which it was.
I can't believe you can just bust that out on a whim. That's amazing.
What? You can't do like a cool, calm, and collected stone-faced newscaster?
Mine tend to be
like shuffling your papers. Like, yes, in today's news, we of course have the Rarity Collection OTS event that will be happening in November. I don't know. It doesn't have an actual date on it.
I grew up watching way too much anime, so my version of that is less calm and collected and more very over the top. Hello, citizens of Domino City. In today's news, coming this November, obtain 2 new card technologies with the 25th anniversary Rarity Collection. That's what I got.
I love that. I do like that, though.
Listen, we got two sides of the same coin. Anyway, let's talk about.
I can be over the top and aggressive. You've seen the Market Watch videos. I mean, they are way higher energy. It's just that it's late.
Well, speaking of energy, the playmat that's been revealed has got a lot of energy.
It's definitely got some dominating energy, that's for sure. Sadly, it is not a Grimoire cloth playmat. It is a rubber playmat, but it's still very nice. It's got the Golden Lord alt art, and this is how we're getting the extended alt art of Golden Lord, which is cool. Never thought I'd see Golden Lord sitting in front of a beautiful sunset wearing heels, but here we are.
No,
this is legitimately like an amazing playmat design, and it also all but confirms that we're getting the alternate arts of the cards in this Rarity Collection, those same ones that were in the OCG, which I believe is IP Masquerena, Golden Lord, and Unicorn.
I think so. I actually don't know that IP is in here. I believe Unicorn is for sure. I'd have to double check the set list.
Yeah.
So
I think that you're right, actually.
The astute among you may notice that we have seen the full art of this before. At the World Championships, there was, and I believe there was another event, there was an art exhibit where they showed off the full arts of, I believe it was Eldritch the Golden Lord, the alternate art, and there was another artwork. I can't remember what it was, but we have seen this full art before there, so to see it on a playmat is cool. Importantly, if there was any doubt about the contents of this set being exactly the same as the OCG one, I think this has laid those doubts to rest. Not only do we have confirmation of like a bunch of other cards, but now it's confirmed that we're getting the alternate arts. Presumably, the alternate arts will only be available in the Ultimate Rare and the Collector's Rare. That's how it was in the OCG, but I would not put it past Konami to make like maybe a very small change. But to be honest with you, the fact that they have not deviated at all makes me think it's probably just going to be the same set minus Maxi.
I'm cool with, to be honest with you.
Sure, yep. If we get all the good stuff that's in there, you got it.
There's a couple of changes I would make. Specifically, I would really like to see. Is Appaloosa in here?
I do not believe Appaloosa is in the set.
I would really like to see Appaloosa, Access Code Talker, and Thrust, but Thrust will never make it in. But I would really like to have seen access code Talker and Apollosa here.
If reprinting Thrust here would have been an incredibly based move, beyond the.
It's technically not too late.
I mean, it's possible, but they'd have.
I would also have loved to have seen Kurikara here.
This would have been a good place for Kurikara. I'm checking the list. Yeah, I don't see Apollosa here.
So
no Apple.
Not only is Apollosa not here, you got me saying it now. It's Appaloosa, but whatever. Neither art, not the regular or the alt art, is here. Yeah, I think this would have been a really wonderful place. So both Nightmare Griffin arts are here. IP Masquerena is not here. Celine is here, which is cool. Is that Celine?
It is Celine, yeah. I'm trying to find the OCG set list because when I went to,
I'm looking at the OCG. I'm looking at it now.
OCG.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely cards that are cool, but like could definitely have been cut from this list. Like Fairy Tail Luna is cool, but you could have cut that and made that Kurikara, right?
Yeah, like
Inspector Border doesn't need to be more accessible.
Yeah, do we need a reprint?
That could have been Thrust.
Do we really need a reprint of Vision Hero Ferris in the Rarity collection?
You know, I'm more fine with Vision Hero Ferris than I am with Magician's Salvation and Magicalized Fusion.
Or how about Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon? Actually, to be fair,
I'm more fine with Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, to be honest with you, than I am with, let's see, all the Floodgates. Summon Limit is here.
Every single
Summon Limit.
Yeah.
Summon Limit, D Barrier, Harpy's Featherstorm. Why are these cards in here? Ice Barrier. Why is Ice Barrier here?
That's a great question. Ice Barrier is there probably because there's upcoming Ice Barrier support. Wouldn't surprise me if they snuck it in there. Just
yeah,
to,
but
like,
this is a year ago.
That's true. I don't know.
That card would have done better in an OTS pack. I mean, they still would have complained about it because it's a useless card.
I will say,
anyway,
there are people who will criticize the inclusion of Fossil Dig, and I would just like to say that they are haters.
I didn't say it. I thought it, but I didn't say it.
Yeah. To be fair, there are probably better decisions to be made. Yeah, why is Summon Limit?
Like I said, I think Thrust, Kurikara, IP, Apollosa, and Access Code Talker all not being... Like, I understand Thrust not being here, but it's also sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Tri-Brigade Revolt is here. So if you want to get some...
They could have put Primitive Planet Paralino in here, and they still can, actually.
Well, I mean, they probably can't now.
Well, no, I'm saying the set list is not announced yet.
That's true.
This is a speculative set list. This was the OCG set list. I think it could be really similar here, but they could make changes here and there to more accommodate the TCG markets, which would make sense. And you can do that by, for example, Primitive Planet Paralino would have been a great printing right here. Like an amazing reprint for a deck that's now like a meta. It's always been a meta relevant strategy since its release, but now that card doesn't have a reprint, and it's like coming back into meta relevance now that Arise Heart's gone.
Right.
So I think that would have been a better pick. That would be a great pick over something like Ice Barrier or Magician's Salvation. That's just me, though.
I can see it. I think it is cool that there are a couple of like archetypal cards that get to sneak in here.
Sure.
I just think I would have picked different ones.
That's what I'm saying. I would have picked Paralino.
Right.
Pearl Rhino if you're wrong, but whatever.
That's Rarity Collection. One other.
Yeah. Next, let's talk about the rarities in the set.
In
Agov.
True.
In Agov.
In the set. Well, to be fair, it is kind of the set.
That's what they keep saying. I disagree, but
we've got. It's not honestly that great as confirmation. So we have a Spanish OTS poster for Agent Warlord. One issue is that you can't really zoom into it very well, so it's kind of low quality. From what we can discern reasonably, they've revealed 3 of the quarter century secret rares. It's the big 2500 Dragon Dingus, SP Little Knight, and the Diabell Star, the main spellcaster lady. So those 3 are here as presumably quarter century secret rares. The issue with this is that for the Diabell Star, it's easy to tell because of the way that it's listed that it's a quarter century. You can't exactly tell for SP or the Dragon. And even the rarities of the other 3 are like hard to tell. It looks like the new Zark Fusion Pendulum is an Ultra. And it looks like the trap card that they're advertising is a Super. But we can't tell what the Sarcophagus is. And we can't really tell what the other 3 are. So
I would say the Sarcophagus is an Ultra, but I've been wrong before.
It's a little bit hard to see like the text.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is hard to see for sure.
We have like yeah, it's really hard to tell. It seems like most people are thinking that they're listed as quarter century secret rares, so we still don't know the rarity of SP Little Knight. Here's a question for you, actually. We can talk about this. How much do you think SP Little Knight is going to be based on like what rarity it ends up at, like versus secret or ultra?
Okay, so I think if SP Little Knight is an Ultra, it will sit around $40 pretty consistently. My basis for this is that while it is a very good Yu-Gi-Oh card, there's no denying that it is a very good Yu-Gi-Oh card. I don't know that it's better than IP, especially upon IP's release. And before a reprint, IP sat pretty steadily around $40. I also think it's a little bit less waifu-y than IP, as much as I hate to say that. But it's maybe, I don't know. I think around $40 if it's an ultra rare. If it's a secret rare, I think it starts out around $30 to $40. Like pre-sale like 100, and then on release it'll drop down to like 30. And then after pre-sales and after pre-sales will be 100, and then right after pre-sales, right at the set release, like day of, it'll be like 30. People are gonna jump all over and buy it out at 30, and then it jumps up to like 80-ish, sells around 70 for a while, and then about March of next year it sees like a ton of meta play in some weird deck, and then it jumps up to like 120. And the thing is that this is the last set of the year for reprints in the Megatons. So, you have to understand that like these cards don't even have a full year before we get a reprint out of them, which is kind of rare, right? We only get like one set a year like that. So it's one of those things where the prices are going to be high until people realize like, oh, these cards are going to get reprinted like fast. Prosperity took 1.5 years to get a reprint. This is going to take 10 months, right. 11 months. So I feel like the prices of these cards are not going to maybe not be quite as aggressive just because the reprint timeline is so much shorter for these.
That is definitely true. I think
as crazy as that sounds,
I don't think it's that crazy. I think you can, if you want like a quick example of something that is going to have a longer reprint cycle, probably. I think you can compare it somewhat to Chaos Angel. If it ends up at a secret slot, it's a one-of extra deck card in most decks that a fair number of decks want to be playing, but is not like super urgent, but it's at the secret slot, so it's harder to get. So that means it sits at like that.
Chaos Angel's like what, $60 right now?
Yeah, my Maple Money brain, I'm thinking like 80.
Yeah,
but it's fluctuated anywhere from between 40 and 80. US, it seems like at the high end when it was seeing a lot more play, it was up there. SP is significantly more generic and accessible than Chaos Angel is. So I think just on that alone, more people will want their copy of it. So I think your low end estimate is on the low side. Like if Revolution Synchron, which is a card that people would play at 3, was peaking at like 60, which it is
60.
significantly down now because people aren't playing it. Everybody will always be playing SP Little Knight so long as it's legal. So I think the floor is a little bit higher for it. But if it's an Ultra, I think you're exactly right. Like, I completely agree with you. If it's an
Top
Ultra,
out of 40.
it is very rare that an Ultra goes above that price. Like, the only one that I can think of in recent memory has been Ding Girsu, and that was a long time ago.
What's the most expensive Ultra Rare you remember? How expensive did Ding get?
Ding was like 50 to 60 at one point.
So there's one Ultra Rare card that was $3, and it was $8, and then it was $20, and then it was $65.
IDP.
Yeah.
True.
So Ice Dragon's Prison was $65 for some reason.
That's
It was a good card, but like I don't know if it was $65 good.
yeah, that's there. I can't remember. There's probably a couple of examples that I'm missing of Ultras that have gotten that expensive, but it's very rare. Now, it is possible for cards at lower rarities to get way more expensive than they should be, especially when every deck has to play them. And one great example of this is Bestial Magnemite. At its peak, that card was like a $30
that's true.
super. And
I think it peaked out like 2022.
sorry,
in the US.
I'm thinking Maple Money. My apologies.
Yeah, you're on funny money. Yeah, that's right.
My apologies to the vast majority of our users, of our listeners.
Hey, Canada's our second largest market.
Hey, I'll take it. Entirely my and not to do with the TCG market in general. So there is precedent for stuff like ballooning way outside of what it should be, but SP is a card that everybody wants, but not everybody is playing 3 of like the Bestials were. So
Right. There's another thing that is going to affect the price of SP to a shocking degree. If SP is a ultra rare with a quarter century secret rare also,
that's true.
it tops out like 25, maybe 30. I guess it technically could get as high as 40, but I really think 30 is kind of more where it settles, even for a meta relevant staple, because of having an alternate higher rarity. Secret rare, though, I think the secret rare tops out around 65 if it has the quarter century, which I think it will have the quarter century, but I just understand that changes the math a lot.
I have no idea how they could not give it a quarter century. That would be like an
I mean, they're gonna, but
that would be like an unbelievable move. That was like, I'm trying to think of the last card that didn't get one. That I was like, I can't believe you would miss this.
Well, they're doing 25 a set, so it's hard for cards not to get it at this point.
It's really hard to miss. I mean, if Lars can get one, then surely SP can get one.
Well, it's kind of outrageous, the pricing. Have you looked at pricing on quarter century secret rares?
Shockingly, a lot of them are actually not that expensive if you look at like what they are.
Some of them are like really cheap.
I was looking at I actually just pulled one out of Remote Duel Regional Pricing. I was looking at quarter centuries of Tokusanu Shinkyojin, and they're like $30, maybe $40.
They're $30 American.
There's a lot of good cards sitting in that.
Evolzar Lars is $27.
27 USD. Yeah, it's gone down quite a bit. I paid, I think, 50 Canadian for mine. So I even jumped the gun a little bit. I thought for sure it wouldn't go lower than that. But a lot of them have just dropped, with the exception of King Yama has gone up.
Oh, King Yama's gone up?
I don't know since. The last time I checked, it had gone up, but let's do Duelist next.
What was it and where did it go? I have it pulled up right now. Where was it at and where was the last time you saw it?
I could not tell you, to be honest. I remember I was looking at quarter century secret rares not too long ago, and it was like the only one that had gone up from where it was like King Yama, and then like a couple weeks after release, the Chimera jumped in price quite a bit, but I have no idea where they are now, to be honest with you. I'm looking at it now.
Wait, how do you spell that?
How do I spell which?
Kinyama.
King Yama? Oh, so it's not actually, sorry. I keep calling it by the OCG name. The TCG name is Unchained Soul Lord of Yama.
Oh yeah, they're like 120.
Yep. And they actually have gone down.
American.
I saw them last. So like the top end of the quarter century secret rares is the Bond and Unity, but that card doesn't count. The Crimson Dragon is,
so it's
is
Rev
like,
Synchron.
Crimson Dragon's like 115, Rev Synchron's like 116. The Lord of Yama is like 120, 118. The Chimera is under 100. And then it drops off quite a bit. Visa Summer Tara is sitting at 67. And then
So
from there, there's a
we've
bunch at
seen
60.
we've seen a lot of quarter centuries so far. What do you think is like the most expensive quarter centuries out of all the ones that have been released this year? Is 57 released?
It's probably IP, right?
IP is technically the highest as far as listing, but it's actually the second highest in market.
Is the highest Zeus?
Yeah, highest is Zeus in market price, but in listings, it's actually IP.
Okay, because those not Maze of Memories, that was
Monstrous Revenge.
Monstrous Revenge, the Battles of Legend set. Yeah, I figured some of those might be.
Yeah, and then it's like, yeah. So Zeus is being listed as low as like 155.
That's
IP
crazy.
is like 170. IP is 170.
That's way lower than I remember. I think a bunch of them have tanked because of the rarity collection.
They've all tanked.
It's wild.
Bestial Lubellion is 170, and then you have Magicians of Bonds and Unity at 137, and then you have Sky Striker Immobilize Engage at 105.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected them to drop that low. Like, so like the cheapest quarter century in Dune is the Tistina stuff, and they've actually gone up a little bit because people are like, they're this cheap. There's no way. Like, if they get support, those are going to be really good. But I mean, I don't know what they could give this deck to make it playable.
Yeah.
One that
the cheapest 25ths are like the God cards and Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes because there were promos.
Yeah.
But past that, like Teller Knight Ptolemaeus is like $19.
Was it
X-Tox Hydra is $21. Yeah. This is insane.
One that I would be keeping an eye on if I were all of you is Fusion Armament. So the Fusion Armament sitting right now at around like $30, I think.
Yeah.
It reads like bad. I can't remember what the card is called for the life of me. I think it's Fusion Duplication. So it feels like it's not great, right? But you'll notice that it has Flame Swordsman on the art. And the new memory set that we got is confirmed to have some amount of Flame Swordsman support. So I would.
That's a great point.
So I would keep an eye on that card if I were you.
If I was to say there's one quarter century secret rare that I feel is just really undervalued and could go up a ton, there's a few archetypal ones like Boxy Tune, I think is really undervalued at $40. But I love Danger Nessie at $42 and Dante Traveler of the Abyss at $45. But I really like Tri-Edge Master at $30.
I picked up a Tri-Edge Master. Partially because
I think Tri-Edge Master is a great pickup. That card I think has a lot of potential.
Yep. Any sort of random synchro combo deck. What is weird is that Tri-Edge Master gets replaced in Manadium by the new level 6 synchro in Age of Overlord. I think we're all forgetting that that's coming.
That is true,
it's a really good card.
But they serve their own purpose. I do think that they serve their own individual purpose. Like, it could be like a toolbox option.
Tri-Edge is way better going second. I think another one to watch, you'll laugh at me because it's dinosaurs, but Lars. Lars is a generic rank 6.
That's true. That is true.
It's a hot red on legs. And
no, Lars is a great pick.
People are talking about playing an Evol engine and stuff. It was in Jesse Cotton's most recent video talking about Age of Overlord. If you play the Evol engine, if you see it as your normal summon, it's just free Lars. It's free Lars and a trap card, so you can even hold Lars if you want to do it later. So it's something to consider. But I would also say I would not go willy-nilly buying a whole bunch of quarter century secret rares. I would say if it's something you think you might use in the future, you might as well go in on the quarter centuries because they will hold value. I think they're definitely at their bottom out point. But I'd say only pick them up if you think you're going to use them, because there's no point in getting the OGs if you can get the quarter centuries for cheap.
That's true. There was something I wanted to say, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, well, that's fine. We probably need to move on anyway.
That's true. Next
if you are going to buy, though, be sure to use our TCG Player affiliate link. That was what I was going to say.
True.
Yeah.
You make a good point.
All right. True. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about, we have a new piece of support from Phantom Nightmare, I think is what the set is called.
Yes, Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah, Phantom Nightmare. Phantom Nightmare, the U-Bell set. So we have a new card. It's just one card out of Phantom Nightmare. We have most of the archetype stuff already, but this is Phantasmal Summoning Beast. Level 7 Dark Fiend effect monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. You contribute this card. Add 1 Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames, Mon, Lord of Striking Thunder, or Raviel, Lord of Phantasms from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then you can special summon 1 level 10 Pyro, Thunder, or Fiend monster whose attack equals its own defense from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, but it cannot attack directly this turn. 2. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Dimension Fusion Destruction from your deck to your hand. This card's crazy.
It's really
They
good.
should have just put this in the Uriah and Raviel structure decks.
It is very funny.
Or was it Slifer and Obelisk?
No, it was the Sacred Beast structure deck.
Okay, yeah.
So, a couple of interesting bits about this. First off, they listed it out as Fiend, Pyro, and Thunder Monster. You may know on the cards that came out in the Sacred Beast structure deck and in all the old support, they all tried to name the individual monsters. That's a lot of card text, so they appear to have given up on that and instead just say it has to be stuff that equals your own defense. Importantly, they also did this because this card does technically support the U-Bell deck. The U-Bell monsters are level 10 fiends specifically.
Level 10 fiend, yeah.
That are 0/0, so this can also go get summon U-Bell from hand after adding a Sacred Beast, if you really want to do that.
Right.
There's probably a couple of other very strange targets you can summon with this. It's not going to make Sacred Beast playable, but it's really good. It's like your best starter. It turbos out all the big guys, and it also gets you access to Armor Tile if you want it. So it's good. It's not like going to do anything, but it's a very well designed piece of support.
I absolutely agree. So, there are very few level 10 monsters that fit that category. So, DD's Savant Galilei is a level 10 fiend. So that's interesting.
We're not really doing Savant Kepler stuff anymore. So maybe,
well, this is Savant Galilei, but I don't know. I don't know the lines in that deck. But there's other options. You have a Darkness Neosphere. Oh no, it cannot be special summoned except by that. Hold on.
No. This
Earthbound Immortal
Kapak
Apu.
This ignores summoning conditions.
Oh, it does. Never mind. Darkness Neosphere is an option. Earthbound Immortal Kapak Apu, the giant.
Oh, Kapakapu.
He's an option. Yeah. Go DDD Divine Zero King Rage.
DDD's
That's an option.
Options, I guess.
It's crazy. Infernoid Ununku is just a thing you can do.
Now,
obviously, Raviel.
One important bit about this is that even if you have these targets, right, you still have to play an Uriah, a Haman, or a Raviel, and then you have to summon the thing from your hand that you've already drawn.
Yes.
But the fact that you can do it is very funny.
True. It's actually kind of insane. The Wicked Dreadroot. So if you wanted to have the attack of all monsters on the field, it's an option. So
interesting.
That's the Fiends.
Is one of the coolest cards, like artwork wise. I love
Thunders is exactly Haman. There is no other Thunder option.
Cool.
What was the other one? Pyro?
Pyro. I don't even know if there is one in Pyro.
There's one other one. Thestalos, the Shadowfire Monarch. It's not out yet.
Okay. Well, unless you're playing DDD or Sacred Beast or Yubel, I guess. That's probably
this. Unironically, could be a really cool like supplemental engine in DDD as like a combo starter.
It's a 2-card combo, I guess, but yeah, you could. You definitely.
Is it a 2-card? Well, I guess you have to have the card in hand. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Everything in DDD is 2-card combos anyway. What do we care?
That's true, actually. You're not wrong about that.
All right. Well,
one other like offhand piece of news. This weekend, so tomorrow, I guess. If you play Duel Links, Master Duel, or Speed Duel, there's a remote duel main event. If you play Speed Duel, I would highly advise you go enter it. Because there aren't as many official Speed Duel events, and the pricing for the Speed Duel event is nuts. If you get like anywhere from 1st to 4th, you get Speed Duel prize cards. There's not going to be that many people that enter this event. And some of the side event pricing for it's really good too. Master Duel, if you want the Shadal construct, El Shadal construct Master Duel mat, you can go play in that event. Or if you want the Exodia one.
Oh, wow.
Which I have. You can go get
Do you have that?
I have the Exodia one. I showed you this. This was the thing that I won from the raffle. For the people. I have.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that.
Yeah.
Is that 2-player?
No, it's actually not even like a playmat. It's like a desk mat. Because like, why would you give a playmat to people who are playing Master Duel, right? You'd give them a desk mat for like their keyboard or for their mouse. Or like a monitor stand or something.
Bro, that's the what, dude?
I like it.
At least make it mouse pad size. Like it's not big enough to put a keyboard on, but it's also way too big to be a mouse pad.
It's big enough to put a keyboard on. You put a keyboard and monitor on that easy.
Is it? It didn't look like it in the picture.
It definitely is.
Or in the video.
The other, and then for Duel Links, you can get like a coin. So I don't know about Duel Links, but
Just play Speed Duel.
Rush Duel is now officially out on Duel Links. If you are interested in playing Rush Duel, definitely do that instead of buying the Switch game. You get for logging in, you get 10 free packs of the Rush Duel set, and you get like a free Rush Duel UR. They're giving away a bunch of nonsense. So they really want people to go in and play Rush Duel. So if you're interested in the format, that's where to do it is Duel Links. And if you're like me and you have like Duel Links like open sometimes and you have a bunch of gems saved up, hallelujah.
Yeah. I literally do not ever play Duel Links. I downloaded it on my phone, realized like just how gotcha the game is, and I was like, I can't do this, bro. It's not real Yu-Gi-Oh! I cannot be bothered to put like time, money, and effort into this, and like learning this whole format, learning how to work the app. It's just too much, bro.
And it's like some level of grinding to get individual skills.
And then things like certain cards are locked behind certain sets that are available at certain times and not always, or if they're always available, then like, you know, you have to pay real money to open the pack and get this card. I don't know, dude. It's too much.
There's like they've resolved the problem of the old sets thing a bit by like cutting their prices in half, but it still always feels really bad to go into them. And like some stuff are locked behind like events until they come out a lot later. It is easily the worst monetization scheme of any of the ways to play the card game, including the TCG, which sounds ridiculous, but it's true.
It really is.
And it sucks because frankly, a lot of the time the best format to be playing is Duel Links. There have been many, many times over the last 3 years where Duel Links is by far the most fun format to be playing in. And it's just locked behind like an insane paywall for anybody who isn't like me, who shows up and only like picks anything up when there's something that helps Dinosaur play. If you are somebody keeping up with the meta, it is an unbelievable amount of money and time investment, and it's not worth it. But if you start with Rush Duel and you get all this free stuff that they're giving you, it could be reasonable that you keep up with the format. So that's a thing.
There is a world where you can actually play the game completely free to play, 100% free to play. You just have to go into it knowing exactly what things to do to play meta on a free to play account. Now, you can't constantly swap decks. You kind of have to commit to a deck and play that deck. Yep. But like our editor Justin, he has played the snot out of Speed Duel or Duel Links, and he's very into the meta. But he's 100% free to play, and he's not like crazy grindy. He hits COG every season, but it's more about knowing how to properly utilize and effectively utilize the resources that you have.
Yep. And right now in Duel Links, actually, if you are just like downloading the app to try Rush Duels and you want a deck that is going to do you well on the Duel Links ladder, but is not super expensive, a mini box just came out, and you actually get 10 free packs of this mini box for logging in with the Rush Duel celebration. Has 10E. It's just the whole 10E.
Yeah.
And
which I've heard is crazy.
It's probably one of the top 3 decks in the format. And the main deck only has 3 URs, and it's your playset of Ashuna, and the rest of the deck is rare or lower. So unbelievably cheap to play. We'll get you King of Games in however long it takes you to play it out, but it's really good and very cheap. So that's my quick little Duel Links primer, I guess.
Yeah.
But
well, we do have an actual main discussion to be had here, and we've only got about 15 minutes to discuss it. 13, but it's something worth talking about, I do believe, which is Thrust is really kind of warping the meta, isn't it?
Yeah. So this stemmed from a discussion that popped up in our Discord, and I saw it and I thought it would be interesting to talk about. Thrust is I mean, obviously it even just it existing kind of warps deck building, but it's also warping. It's warping what is good to play, right?
Yes.
So I think
objectively.
So the best examples of this are Unchained and Fluwanderies. Thrust elevates both of their game plans immensely, and it is like so if I was to look at something like Rise of the Duelist format, where Forbidden Droplet and Triple Tactics talent were very expensive, and they were optimizations that you could make, and you were at a disadvantage if you weren't playing them. But it was like 90% to 100%, maybe 95 to 100%. It wasn't going to end your run at an event most of the time, right?
I think there are even times around that format, like right after Rise of the Duelist, when you get into Phantom Rage, where you can really look at something like in the Tri-Brigade deck. A lot of people actually preferred to play Chalice over Droplet because it was direct 1-for-1 answers without actually, other commitments.
Yeah, and there were times like when Virtual World was doing VFD, Droplet wasn't as great because they just changed Chuche. So if you don't have a trap to send, Droplet isn't very effective. But but in this case, there is no substitute for what Thrust does, which has not been like there's not a budget alternative to what Thrust is. So in Unchained, Thrust is a huge advantage because through interruption you can go set your trap cards, and then you can extend that way by destroying them. Or if like something gets interrupted in the graveyard, like your Sharvara gets like Skullmeistered or hit with Called by the Grave, you can go get your trap so that you have it. Or you can go get Engine because it gets you Abomination's Prison and it gets you any number of board breakers. In Fluwanderies, that deck won a YCS on the back of Thrust. I think Fluwanderies is arguably the best Thrust deck because not only do you have access to Terraforming to go get Map, which is a consistency piece that the deck needs, you can go get normal spells if you're playing something like Jack in hand. You have many normal trap cards you can set, whether it's Dreaming Town if your M-Pen gets impermed, or the Harpy's Featherstorm to just auto-win the game if you get hand-trapped at any point. And then post-side, you get your board breakers that you need to let your Fluwandery stuff resolve. So it gets you every piece of your engine in the form of Map. It gets you every piece of your back row disruption, and it gets you any board breaker in the game. And there's nothing that does all three of those things at any level of consistency. So
yeah, being able to search out functionally any card in your deck, because when you think about it, it doesn't just search monsters, right? If I'm in Sky Striker, it also searches Ray and Rose because it searches Rhoda.
Yeah.
Or even Hornet Drones. Or not Hornet Drones, Engage.
which gets Hornet drones.
You know, right. If you're playing, you know, even Sword Soul, right? You go get Vessel for the Dragon Cycle, and okay, cool. You have your 10E engine online. In a game where there's so much optimization, almost every deck has these consistency spell cards that you just turbo through to go search through your deck and get to your engine. But the only high consistency deck that hasn't had that lately is Tri Brigade, because it was 10 key, which is continuous. Even then, you go get Revolt, like, if you need to. Like you can literally go get engine consistency. This card not only provides board breaking, this card not only provides, you know, I'm going to go get talents and, you know, steal something or draw 2 cards. This card provides follow through on turn 0 for engine. This card is insane.
Yeah. The other piece to it too is like it searches even other stuff with like insane consistency, right? So in Fluanderies, I gave the example of terraforming, where it searches any field spell in the game if you're willing to play terraforming.
Yes,
so
it is.
Infernoble can go get their library, which is insane. It also searches any normal trap in the game because of Trap Trick. So if you don't want to, like, I mean,
that is true.
You can also just go set the normal trap, right? Which is fair, but like maybe you drew one, you can go get a different one. Actually, there's no.
If we're being honest, this card is Trap Tricks with more steps.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, there's no point in I don't know why I was thinking Trap Trick. I got brain fogged by the MBT Twitter thread. Somebody posted Trap Trick as a meme. But it's just wholly unnecessary to even do that. You can just go get the trap card. It technically searches any monster in the game, because you can use this to go get Small World. So this card searches any field spell, searches any monster, and it searches any normal trap.
You know what else it searches? Floodgates.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It searches D-Barrier. It searches Eradicator.
Yeah.
Think about that. It doesn't search continuous ones, but like, it's ridiculous.
We could start to see people go get stuff like Different Dimension Ground. We've already seen it as a play to go get Karma Cannon, which will happen less because cash is gone, but that's still a thing. The other thing that
when you have a card that's a staple like this, like you can look at Prosperity and say Prosperity is great, but it might not be quite as good in, say, a control deck, or it might not be quite as good because, you know, you'd rather do other things, right? Or, which I guess is good there, but whatever. You know, you might say it's not quite as good in a full-scale combo deck because you don't want to banish your combo pieces out of the extra deck for a deck that should already have high consistency. It might not be good in a mid-range deck because you want more room for hand traps and you're already so consistent, whatever. Like, you can find reasons to not play Prosperity, you know? And same thing with talents, right? Triple Tactics talents, you can find reasons to not play it in the deck. You can find reasons to not play any number of high power like Droplet. Droplet's format dependent, right? But every style and form of deck just about can justify playing this. The only one that can't is like maybe Pendulum, and even then most Pendulum decks I feel like would still play it. The ones that wouldn't play it are when it's just like 40 Pendulum monster pile, you know?
Yeah.
Like every deck runs spells and traps. Like,
and
you're gonna play this card.
On top of all of these things that we have just listed about how ridiculous Thrust is, this card lets you play a 25 card side deck. If you are playing Thrust in your main deck or your side deck, instead of playing, so you see a lot of people side decks now with like a bunch of insane one-ofs. Like you'll see Change of Heart, Harpy's Feather Duster, evenly matched at like 1, and a bunch of other cards. Herald of the Abyss for 1, your Karma Cannon, your Dimensional Barrier. So instead of having to play sets of all of those cards to see them, you can play 3 Thrust, 1 of each of those cards, and you are now playing 4 copies of all of those cards. So your side deck just went from having to be like, how do I fit all this stuff in, to, oh, I just play 1 of all the normal spells and traps that I can. I go get them with Thrust when I need them, and then I save like the other 9 slots for my 3F hand traps that I want. And then you can have 6 individual board breakers that you can flex into with Thrust. So you expand your side deck space. So your Thrust lets you cheat the deck builds limitations of the game. It lets you cheat the consistency of the game. And it also is like, and it's also an oh crap button, right? When you're like, I got hand trapped into Oblivion. I'll go set my D barrier, and then I get to play next turn. So the question,
I think that there's a world. Yeah.
You go.
Well, I think there's a world actually where you play cross out in the side for going second or for going first. You play cross out in the side for going first. That way you can set it on turn 0. And when your opponent tries to thrust you, you can cross out thrust.
It's
because of the card's prevalence.
It's starting to get to that point where I think we might have to start considering stuff like cross out. The other so the question that that's part one of the discussion is thrust is broken. I think we can pretty definitively say that it is the best card in the game right now. Now,
unfortunately, yes.
Yes, unfortunately is the caveat. So now I'm not going to read your exact words because I don't think we're allowed to on the podcast. But you raised
I know. I got kind of aggressive.
Yeah. No, but you raised a very good point, and I didn't even really think about it this way. Sonny essentially said, okay, so I guess there's no point in playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now if you don't want to pay for a playset of Thrust. And it's a question to think about, right? If you're going to locals, I would say you should just not buy it at all. Like, and frankly, if you can at all help it, I would not buy it at all. It's unbelievably expensive, and while it's a boost to many decks' game plans, it's not worth it.
I need to go delete. I need to go delete part of that message actually because it's a little too aggressive.
That's fair. The point is, we talk about like how like absolutely ridiculous Thrust is and how it elevates like any deck that can play it, and almost any deck can play it. But if what you're doing is going to locals and competing at your locals, it is not worth buying a playset of this card, and you shouldn't stop playing Yu-Gi-Oh because this card is out of reach. But if you are going to a YCS, if you're going to a large or maybe like a really, really big regional, and your goal is to try to top, you probably have to play Thrust. Like, you can look at the deck lists for Cancun, you can look at the deck lists for Vancouver. It's like almost all of them are on Thrust. So you can do it without it. Like, you can top a YCS without it, but it's really hard.
A lot of this stemmed from a discussion of, can you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively on a tier 1 competitive level under $200? And the very sad, very unfortunate truth and reality of the matter is, not really. As terrible as that sounds, like, is it possible to build a tier 1 deck under $200? Yes, absolutely. It's like, can you build that meta threat deck that's a good, actually good deck under $200? Yes. The issue is it'll never be optimal. Because you need Thrust to play optimally, which is, again, unfortunate, but it's simply the truth. At this point, I'm aware that Konami is going to want to reprint the card and capitalize on a reprint. Just like I'm sure they wanted to do with Arise Heart, but didn't get the chance. This card needs to go for the health of the game. It has become a mandatory staple in all decks. Similar to... it's the reason that we don't have Pot of Greed legal. Because you would just play it in everything. There's no deck that would not play Pot of Greed. And I understand that if everybody can play it, then it's not that big of a deal. We just all play 38 cards. But the issue with Thrust specifically is that it doesn't get you 2 random cards. It gets you one of any card in your deck in the case of most decks. It gets you non-engine and engine. It gets you side deck cards. It gets the blowouts. It gets the board breakers. It gets the cards that get you back into the game. It can break boards against combo decks by searching Dark Ruler No More. It can break boards against control decks by searching Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm. It can help you break a board that's mid-rangey by going for triple tactics talents. It can be follow-up. It can be anything. And that's the danger of this card. It is simply too powerful because it is simply too... The word I want to use is diverse,
flexible.
But diverse is not the word. Flexible. That's exactly right. It's too flexible. That's an issue.
Yep.
And that's why I think this card needs to be banned. Not just because it's $100 and mandatory to play in the format. It's too ubiquitous.
Yep. And it's interesting. We ended last episode in disagreement. This episode, I wholeheartedly agree with you. We have to ban thrust. I hate.
You could emergency ban it, and that would be very happy.
I hate that this.
It's a
card,
problem.
Prosperity is already
it warps
an
deck
issue.
building.
Prosperity is already an issue for digging for cards. This card says you don't have to dig for them. There's no random chance involved. It's even
right.
Triple Tactics Talent on its face is a ridiculous card, and I think there's a pretty reasonable argument to have it banned. It is infinitely easier to play around Triple Tactics Talent than it is to play around Thrust. Thrust is just if you activate a monster effect at any time during the turn.
Yes.
This is whenever, right? Specifically with something like TTT, you can use your effects in different times. You can build a board around it. It's very difficult to build a board around Thrust without significantly reducing the power of your board, right? So
yeah,
I agree. We gotta get rid of it.
I think that the argument so this all started on the event thing because it was brought up in this Discord server because we talked last episode a lot about whether or not events should go up in price. And then it was well, from events, it's but people already spend so much money on deck building and on travel. Yeah. And that's when I said you could build a deck for under $200 that's competitive. And so the reason I'm circling back to that is to say, I didn't consider the impact that Thrust has on the meta at the moment. Because Thrust is not just negatively impacting game scripts, because it is, but it's also negatively impacting player perception of the format. I'll be honest, there are still your diehards that want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! There are still the people that are just never going to stop. But all of my locals have died. Because this game is not fun to play right now. It's not interactive. We have issue cards like Dimensional Barrier, like Eradicator, like Featherstorm, like D-Shifter, like Rust, like 3 Prosperity, even Talents. I understand this is a game with inevitable power creep. That's fine. But if we can spend the first 10 years of the game banning powerful blowout staples, I don't see why we can't attack these powerful blowout staples now. We have cards in the game like Gozen, Rivalry, and Tikaboo. We have cards in the game like Summon Limit. We have cards in the game that are just no fun. They suck. They make every game that they enter miserable. And you say, well, yeah, but we want to appeal to the control players. We want to make the control players happy. We want to have those trap cards and those floodgates and slow games down. That's not what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. That's not what you've made Yu-Gi-Oh! Embrace what you've made it, which is fast and fun. Right now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be the most fun it's ever been. But it can't be. Because of the existence of all these cards that we all hate. Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be enjoyable for everyone. Not just the 3% that want to play control. Go look at your deck lists that people submit to your YCSs. I bet for 2,000 deck lists, you have maybe 150 control players, and the rest are all playing mid-range and combo. Because guess what? Doing more stuff in your turn is more fun. Now, hand traps are fine. Ash is fine. Imperm's fine. These cards provide unique one-on-one player-player interaction in a way where it rewards
skillful play. That's fine. These cards don't reward skillful play. They're just blowouts, and nobody likes them. Get them out of here. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of this. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to turn into a rant, but you cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh! Under $200 because of these cards.
That was a Shakespearean soliloquy for the ages. I think
it was a true sunny memento.
There's a lot in there that I agree with. I will say, at a minimum, we got to ban Thrust. We can't do this anymore. Speaking of, we can't do this anymore. You got some patron names.
I do. I know we're over. I'm sorry to keep going, but I can't. I'm in my zone now. Hear it.
Speak your truth, King.
It is really hard. 2 years ago, I was so excited about going to locals. My locals are an hour away in any direction I go at best. So it was exciting for me to go to these locals every weekend or every other weekend and case tournaments and regionals on the off weekends. I was traveling for Yu-Gi-Oh! like 2 to 3 weekends a month.
Almost every other weekend. I believe I'm probably on record on the podcast as being like, hey man.
Even at the beginning of this year. Yeah. Yeah. Even at the beginning of this year. And now I haven't been to an event since Nationals. Except for the one case tournament that I hosted. Why? Because the scene is dying. Go look at how many regionals we had, this time last year versus this time this year. The regional numbers got cut. We don't have as many regionals. The regionals aren't capping because the game's not fun. Attendance is down at a local level. Yes, your YCS diehards are still going to YCSs. That's awesome. I'm happy that level of the game is succeeding. But at a local level, people are not having fun with these floodgates and stuff. So
if I'm being real with you, I think I've maybe been to locals once in the last 3 months. It's to be fair, for both of us, it's a longer drive. For me, I think it's between half an hour, 45 minutes for me to drive out to a locals, depending on what day. And it's tough for me to devote time on it for the weekend. I will say, I have maybe the opposite opinion about the format. I think this format is very fun if you are playing Thrust.
Exactly. That's what I said a minute ago. It's like this should be the most fun format we've had in ages with Unchained and Kashtira's gone. Like there should be a lot of enjoyment in the current format, but there's just not.
It's the crappy blowouts and the crappy auto wins that are preventing the game from being as fun as it should be. That's the point.
And Thrust lets you go get them.
Yep.
They were already bad. Thrust makes them miserable.
Yep.
So, okay. That's why Thrust needs to be banned. Okay, let's talk about patrons. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
I got on my soapbox. I do that every now and then. I'm sorry.
No. I will say, I think it is worth getting on the soapbox for that. I think that's something that a lot of people on the competitive side of things need to hear.
Yeah. I will also, I'm publicly acknowledging, you got me. I was wrong. It's format dependent, but right now you cannot build a competitive deck that's going to take you all the way at a tier 1 event for under $200 because you need the rest. So, all right. Well, of course, a huge thank you to all of our wonderful patrons for their continued support of the podcast. So, thank you to Bring Red Reboot Back to 3, Kane Martin, Zyphers, Big Stinky Blow as his best copium, Ding Dongs, hostess of the Yang Zing. Give me that Harussi, Yami. I hate that. I love that, but I hate that. That Harussi.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Yep.
That's an all-timer. That's an all-timer.
It's the timing of this. You just went on a 20-minute rant about the state of the game, and just to turn around and be like, now to thank our patrons, Harussi.
Give me that Harussi. Gold Secrets coming back when? Konami, HGH Cyber. I used to play Rogue, but then my mom got a job. John Lil, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pistol Place Pendulums, Shisala on my Mangrate till I redacted. Silver Hope, Tuco Salamangrate. I don't get that one.
All right. Okay.
I don't get it. Ooh. Okay, I don't know. Understanding and reading are two different things. Oh. Virtually Savior's World. As anyone read Toy Vendor, it's kind of like reading Miss Cars, Aaron Garner, Alexander Chan, Asami, Ashlish, Chaps, Atsuyo, Sympathis Over Castle, Blackman, Silver in the Ascent is the best Floodgate. Box Wine, come on and get your game on. Duty Booty, Dragon Maid, List Behavior. I'm about to Rika, Glamour, Trooper, Frosties, Plant Nuts in Your Mouth. Level 4 Fire Warrior Gaming, Lama Yama, Cam, Sarama, Max C Pack, Neshi, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, and Slaking It Up. Thank you all for your continued support of the podcast. I like the new names. Keep them coming. I like this. So with that said, of course, thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast. And until next time, have a great weekend, everybody.
When the game is priced out of people's hands, it makes me very sad. You could say a way to describe how I feel would be breakheart. Monodium breakheart, for that matter. Have a good night, everybody.